All right, I got started in MMA about 5 years ago. I was one of those guys that just watched it on TV and thought I could do it. And so I came into CSW Erik Paulson's gym one day and kind of lied my way into pro practice. Said I had trained before, and little did I know, it was a lot harder than what you saw on TV or what you expected. I was in the cage with Josh Barnett and Babalu, my first day guys that I had idolized and watched on TV. And I got my ass handed to me. But there was something about it that I loved, and I just continued to come back every day, just living the dream, man, and followed it and pursued it, and everything's worked out so far. So it's a blessing, man. It's a true blessing. The road to the UFC has been rough. When you start off in your professional career, you start off fighting for peanuts. Local shows, bull rings, little casinos, you know, just about anywhere. And it's more like they're using you and your body, and you kind of got to prove yourself and make your way up the rankings. It's not an easy road, but it's one that's well worth traveled. And you know, if you stay true to yourself and you stay true to your dream and you continue to pursue and put the time in, you got to put the time in. You can't just expect things to fall in your lap in this sport. What you put in is what you get out. So you have to put your dues in, you got to put your time in. And if you continue to believe and put the time in and advance and progress, then everything will work out as God's plan for you. I've learned in my fights that you need to train, you know, to the best of your ability. You got to put everything into it. You've got to do your diet, your supplements. You've got to be able to take a kick. You've got to be able to transition from striking to wrestling to ground positions. You gotta have the full package. You gotta have heart, man. You gotta want it. If you don't want it or you find a way out, then you'll quit. But if you've got it inside of you to be the best, then the sky's the limit. First fight I made $500. and I think my medicals cost around $800, so I was on the losing end. It's just one of those things that you got to do, man. It's part of the game. I've got a 4-fight deal with the UFC, and I plan on winning all 4, being in the top 10 after the 2014. And making a name for myself and moving up the ranks. God, toughest opponent that I faced. Well, see, I did K1 kickboxing in Glory. I fought some pretty tough, top-notch kickboxers. MMA, my last guy was probably my toughest, but he got knocked out in 2 minutes. So, granted, it was my night. You know, I did what I was supposed to do. It was taking nothing away from him. But yeah, I'd have to say probably my kickboxing fights have been my toughest thus far. Favorite submission is the head and arm choke. Usually once I lock it in, as far as big and strong as I am, it's over. It's a wrap. As far as striking, my kickboxing level is pretty high class. I don't think that a lot of these heavyweights can strike with me, can sit there and bang with me. A lot of them are just bangers. They're wide, loopy brawler punchers, but as far as technical strikers, kickboxers, I don't think that anybody in the UFC has got the tools that I have. Biggest inspiration in life is my daughter, Aubrey Lily. Just the absolute best thing that's ever happened to me. I got a beautiful wife at home. I got a family, you know, I got people that depend on me to provide. And not only do I want to make a name for myself and be known as one of the best heavyweights in the world, but I got mouths to feed. I got people, you know, depending on me, so. Regular coaches, Erik Paulson at CSW, my boy Ben Jones. He's a professional fighter, but he's like my coach, he's my ace. He's the dude I take to all my fights with me in my corner. He's the voice that I hear the most, that I trust the most. I got Joey Aguilar doing my boxing, and then I have Marcus Martinez at In-Body Strength that does my strength and conditioning. So my regular sparring partners are a group of guys at CSW, Ben Jones. There's heavyweights that we bring in. Josh Barnett is here, obviously. Yeah, there's just a slew of guys that come in, and we mangle, basically. Without a doubt, stand up. You know, I'm beginning to like to do, you know, put it all together and strike into takedowns, to the ground and pound, to submissions, but I mean, we're heavyweights. People want to see us, you know, throw leather and knock each other out. I'm all for it. I love it, you know. I like to mix it up. Like I told you, I like to strike, and I don't think any of these dudes can hang with me as far as striking. It means everything. I think it's something that's in our blood, it's in our DNA, it's just something that we're born to do. There's a lot of fighters, so-called fighters out there that train or take classes or, you know, want to be that person on TV, and they've been in a street fight or something, or they've taken a class and now all of a sudden they're a fighter. Be a professional, act like a professional, train like a professional. Don't talk the talk, walk the walk. 6'8", 260 pounds, moves like you've never seen before, hits like you've never seen before, puts it all together like big monsters like me usually don't. I got a family, I've got the heart, I've got the will, I've got the toughness. It's badass, man. That's all there is to it. Vegas obviously is the mecca for MMA, for the UFC. Biggest casino, biggest crowd. Kane's wearing the strap, we all want Kane. Whoever's wearing the strap, in time, that's who I want, you know. Whoever's the best in the world at the time, that's who I want. So there's no reason to get into this sport or get into signed to the UFC in the heavyweight division if you're not going to try and be the best. Well, what are you doing? Like, you know, there's no point, and there's no scared game. There's no, you know, you're worried about getting knocked out. There's always a chance for all of that. So you got to go in there and just test yourself against the best in the world. That's why I'm here. He got in there and gave it his all every time he was in there. He was a fan favorite. He was the outlaw. He was the dude that got in there and just did it. He did it. He did what he said he was going to do. He fought to the very end. Spectacular knockouts, all around just top-notch game.